Hello there, one and all, and welcome to episode 396 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube. Somewhat unusually, I suppose, on a Thursday evening, but there is a reason for that, and I'll explain what that is in a moment. But first, as usual, we need to find out who the first comment is from, and it is from Pradeep, who simply says cuckoo, which I guess means that you're here. Musk in Heaven is saying hello, folks. Adamus says evening all. Hello, good day or good evening, says Headless Sense. Who else have we got here? Ty is here as well. So is Woozy, who says, hey, all heard this is more of a Jasmine. Well, I think you have probably heard correctly. Victoria says, hi, sorry, just stumbling across this. Is this starting at 7:30? Yes, it is starting right now. You are here. You are here live, hopefully. Thank you very much for tuning in, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording. Feel free to leave a comment, ask a question, regardless of what form you are watching this in. Sacred Flow says getting a drink first. Tell us what you're having. Okay, so why are we somewhat unusually, as I say, doing a video on a Thursday? It is because this is the subject of the review. Okay, so this is pretty new from Labo. It is called Myrrhe 55, or I guess with this spelling, that is an indication to us that we need to be saying Myrrhe 55, I guess. Pardon the dodgy accent as usual. For those of you who are not aware, although I should imagine from those of you who are watching this video and subscribe to this particular channel, there will be very few of you who are unaware of this. But in addition to their main range that you can get from Labo boutiques and Labo online throughout the year, they also have some city exclusives. The idea is that I think the idea is that each of the cities that has a Labo boutique has an exclusive scent assigned to it. So there is a city exclusive for London. There's one for Berlin. There's one for Seoul. There's one for Paris, and so on and so forth. But one thing that Labo have been doing for the last good few years now is that in September of every year, there's a kind of amnesty. There are no rules, and you can get all of the city exclusives everywhere. So you could walk into any Labo boutique tomorrow or today, depending on what time zone you're in, and ask for Myrrhe 55. You don't have to be in Shanghai. I think the way that it works is that for the month of August, you can order sample sizes of all of the city exclusives, and then in September you can buy the actual full bottles, and then that's it. If you haven't bought them, then you have to wait until next August, September to buy them again. But I have a feeling you will know this little technicality better than I do. But I think that once you have bought a city exclusive, you can have your bottle refilled anywhere, as long as it's a refillable bottle. But somebody tell me if I'm wrong on that. So yeah, I'm fairly sure that that certainly used to be the case, even if it isn't anymore. Rich Mitch says there should be a Newcastle city exclusive. I daren't ask what on earth that would be. So very, very long preamble. That means that if you are not in Shanghai, this one, Myrrhe 55, is only going to be available for 2 more days. This is the new Shanghai city exclusive. Trina says, yes, you can have it refilled once you have purchased one. Thank you very much. I thought there was something like that. And preamble nearly over. I received a sample of this just a few days ago, and I thought, gosh, I need to get the word out there about this before the city exclusive window closes, because I think a lot of you out there may be interested in this particular one. I realize that this video is actually going to be probably pretty redundant for the next 10 months and will maybe only come into its own in August 2024, but never mind, at least it's going to be out there. Why do I say that? Let's have a spray. I have also got a pre-sprayed blotter that was sprayed about an hour and a half ago so that we can see how it's done, but I have a fairly good idea of how this scent develops now, because I've worn it for the last couple of days, because I think this has been done very much with perfumista type tastes in mind, which is to say that it is quite a sort of vintage loving, retro loving scent. And Labo haven't gone down the vintage route very often in the past, but they tend to do pretty well when they go down that route. We are also, I think, not really going to spend a lot of time talking about the really jaw-dropping, sphincter-squeezing, eye-watering prices of the Le Labos, and not just the normal Le Labos, but the city exclusives, because they have just kind of gone through the roof. But show me a perfume brand whose prices haven't gone through the roof lately. I mean, I was even looking at the prices of, I was looking at the prices of Chanel's Exclusive, and I'm pretty sure that the 75 ml bottles of the Exclusive are now more expensive than the large sizes were about 7 or 8 years ago. The price hikes have lately been really, really crazy, and I know a lot of you feel the same way, because you've written to me, a lot of you, to say that you agree. What are people saying about this so far? Helter Skelter Jones says, Myrrhe is about the last thing I would associate with a Le Labo. Tend to think of their airy, almost transparent scents. Paul says, I love anything that makes me smell like an unkempt church. Hoping this does that. I don't know about church, but maybe unkempt. Let's have a... sphincter squeezing is what the Newcastle scent would do, says Paul. If you say so. I really wouldn't know. Let's have a smell. Yeah, this is... This is actually, really, really quite surprisingly because it's Le Labo, and surprisingly because it's something called Myrrhe 55. Surprisingly, it comes across as a sort of 1940s, 1950s resinous white floral. Somebody said jasmine earlier, right? White floral, chypre, and actually very well done, very convincingly done. It's quite abstract. Yes, the white floral note is recognizable, but it's sort of not pushed to the foreground in the way that a lot of modern brands try to make things hyper legible, hyper distinctive, hyper sort of palatable. It's got a very, very, very kind of uplifting quality to it as well. I think that there's some kind of material, and I don't think it's a citrus, but maybe it might be some kind of synthetic, slightly citrusy, slightly floral thing. But it's not orange, it's not bergamot, it's nothing obvious like that. That's doing a lot of heavy lifting at this. So maybe it's some form of aldehyde. And actually thinking out loud now, it could be something aldehydic, because this is very much in the territory of things like arpège and Frederick Malle Superstitious. Maybe even suggestions of the really, really grand aldehydic florals like Amouage Dear Woman, although that obviously is a lot more about the rose, and it's gentler and powderier. This has got that slightly more assertive, bitter chypre quality, and I think that's the thing that I really, really loved about it as soon as I smelt it, was that it's sort of unabashedly, unashamedly bitter. Now, we also need to talk a little bit about names, because Le Labo perfume names, I think you can kind of pretty much ignore. Now, certainly the line back in the day when the brand was launched, I don't know how strictly they stick to this anymore, but the line was that the name was merely a reference to the to the ingredient that makes up the highest percentage in the formula. And any of you out there who know anything about perfume formula will know that the ingredient that takes up the highest percentage is by no means necessarily going to be the one that you smell the most. Okay, so just because it's called myrrhe doesn't mean you're mainly going to be smelling myrrhe. Just because one of theirs is called patchouli, actually, is a good example, doesn't mean that that's the main thing you're going to smell. And apparently the number has always meant to represent the number of ingredients. Now, how accurate that is, I don't know, because actually, yes, I'm with you, We Are Scent, because We Are Scent says they should have a lot of hediones then, because, I'm guessing when they choose the name, they probably don't consider the synthetics. They don't sort of consider having one called Isoe Super something or other, Hedione something or other, I don't know, Galaxolide something or other. So they probably go for the most prominent natural or natural sounding ingredient. Last year we had matcha. Well, I don't know if there even is a sort of natural, sorry, not natural. I don't know if a matcha perfumery material ingredient exists. Perhaps it was an accord. So, as I say, you need to take those names with several grains of salt. But the number is interesting because in my geeky way, when I found out that this one was called something 55, I thought, "Ooh, is that the highest number?" And I had a very, very, very quick scan on their website, and I think it is. I think this is the highest number that any of their names has got to. Interestingly, I think the second highest number is one of my favorite scents of theirs, and that is Ylang 49, which I brought along here. This one was from 2013, 2014, and that also, weirdly, bizarrely, or maybe it's not actually a coincidence, maybe there is something to it. Ylang 49 is also a really, really well done, very, very, very convincingly executed Nouveau Chypre. That, if memory serves, was made by Frank Volkel. I would love to know who has made Myrrhe 55. It's a really, really weird thing with Le Labo because it seems to kind of go against their aesthetic and their ethos to not make the names of their perfumers very, very prominent. Even the Killian brand, they don't go shouting the names of the perfumers, but they certainly don't hide the names of the perfumers, and it's just always felt odd about Le Labo. Anyway, so I've just sprayed the Ylang, which I love. Yeah, and it's got the Ylang kind of makes me think maybe more a little bit of 70s scents, and maybe it's because the florals are more rose centered, and maybe the fruitier notes are more pronounced. Ylang always made me think of things like Aromatics Elixir and Yves Saint Laurent Rive Gauche, whereas the Myrrhe seems to go back further in time. But it's really, really convincing, and I think I don't know whether there's this kind of thing, isn't there, where like 20-somethings who want to stand out from the crowd are actually the demographic at the moment that are going for vintage clothes, and they want to smell of older perfumes. One of you watching, a regular viewer, actually very, very, very kindly sent me a translation of an article that appeared in a French newspaper not that long ago that said this very thing, that a lot of 20-somethings are actually seeking out perfumes from the past because it makes them feel different, it makes them feel special, and maybe that's kind of what Le Labo are trying to tune into. But this really works. The Myrrhe really, really works. Ty says Myrrhe sounds like it'll be up there in my Le Labo favorites alongside Ylang, Lys, and Labdanum. Yeah, the Lily was very good. What does the brand say about it? Not a lot. Myrrhe, they say, a resin once considered to be so sacred that it was more valuable than gold, is known in Chinese traditional medicine as a blood mover. It should come as no surprise then that Myrrhe 55, Shanghai's city exclusive, is a creation that will get your heartbeat thumping. Well, in a way, because maybe you think, oh goodness, they don't make them like this anymore. Myrrhe, which smells of incense with a strong licorice twist, and I would say also a very strong fungal element, is at the heart of this creation. Its partners in crime are jasmine and patchouli, all well anchored on a bed of, they say, oud. Okay, maybe, I mean, it's not an oud scent. Ambergris, and of course, musk. Myrrhe 55's understated elegance, it is not understated, emanating contemporary and creative classicism that makes it hard to ignore, true, and forget. It's a chypre, ladies and gents, they say, dark and electric. Dark, I would go with. Electric, no, because I think it's sort of, it's more like gaslight, lamplight. Old and new, just like Shanghai. Okay, that may be the case. I don't know Shanghai at all. Oh, and Trina says, I have a 25-year-old at home who goes for my vintage fragrances all the time. Interesting. 25, male or female? And which one do they go for? And let's go for the pre-spray blotter. By the way, I should have said that as I've set everything up for a video today, we are not just going to do the one when this review is over. We're going to come back we'll take a 2-minute break and come back with another video. Actually, a review of something else from the Estee Lauder stable. But where is my Myrrhe 55? So this is what, maybe sprayed about, yeah, I'd say about an hour and a half ago. Okay. Yeah, it really works. It really works. I mean, you would really hope that you are getting something that works when you pay whatever it is for this. I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds of pounds, I think, for a large bottle of this. But don't worry, you know, what you get is woodiness in the base, but not oudiness. You don't get a particularly sort of strong ambergris note. So I don't know if I go along with those notes that I just read out to you, but it's something metallic, something bitter, not sort of obviously overtly oak moss, but then I guess it wouldn't be. It's probably got some kind of oak mossy substitute, but patchouli, 100%. Not overtly, obviously musky. And I guess because of that structure of aldehydes, strong white floral with an emphasis on jasmine and patchouli, you're immediately in retro land. And it does it well. And it does it with, it somehow does it with intelligence. And just now smelling it, do you remember in the 90s, there was a very, very, very highly acclaimed movie. I enjoyed it. I don't think I quite really got what the hype was about, but never mind, that doesn't matter. LA Confidential, which was based on a crime novel. I forget the writer. You will know better than I do. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is because it was a movie that was set several decades in the past from when it was made, but it evoked the past with a very kind of knowing sense of style, so that it sort of played the, James Elroy says, Christian, thank you very much. It played the nostalgia card with the film with Kim Basinger. Yes, you know the one I mean. It played the nostalgia card well, so it made everybody look really, really supremely stylish and elegant in the period clothing, but it did it with a wink, and it did it without glamorizing the past or romanticizing the past. And I think that aesthetic is very much here. So you smell this and you think of the characters in LA Confidential, and you think of Kim Basinger, and you could, if you wanted to go back a bit further, you could even think of Faye Dunaway and Jack Nicholson in Chinatown from the 70s. It's got that kind of feel. Russell Crowe as well, says Kim. Yes, a very young Russell Crowe. And who was the actor as well from Babe? Yeah, I was just about to give away a spoiler. I've heard of Myrrhe 55 compared to opium, says Victoria. It's not about spices. You know, to me, yes, there are a lot of resins and a lot of myrrhe in opium, but opium is about the spices. This is not that. This is a white floral on woods and some resins. And we will stop it right there. So if you like the sound of it, I think you have 2 days left to try to get yourselves a sample. And then if you like it, you can either go to Shanghai or wait until next year to get yourselves a full bottle. But thank you very much for watching. And as I say, for those of you watching live, we will be back in a few minutes with another review. Okay, take care now. See you soon. Bye.